Okay, we are going to start our unit on fingerprints. The reason fingerprints can be used as evidence is because they follow three fundamental principles. First is that they are an individual characteristic, and no two people have been found with the exact same fingerprint pattern, even identical twins. Because fingerprints are not genetic, identical twins, even though they have same DNA, will not have the same fingerprints. Fingerprints develop in the womb from touching the womb. Another reason we can use fingerprints is that they don't change. They stay the same for the life of the individual. Scarring or skin diseases can cause changes in the appearance of the fingerprints, though, and that the ridge characteristics allow them to be categorized and identified. So we're about to look at some of those ridge characteristics. There are three classes for fingerprints: arches, loops, and whorls. So we're going to look at all of those. Here are just some interesting facts about fingerprints. 30% of people have loops. 60% of people have loops, 35% have whorls, and 5% have arches. You do need to know the term dactylograms, which is the term for fingerprint. Okay, the simplest type of fingerprint pattern is an arch. An arch, the ridges come in one side and exit another. There are two types. There are plain arches and tinted arches. Plain arches, you have kind of a smooth heel type action, but on a tinted arch, you have more of the pattern in the middle that is a sharp spike. So that makes it a tinted arch. Don't get the tinted arch confused with another characteristic that we're going to see later, which is a delta. Loops have to have one delta, and a delta is just a triangular area. If you look at these two fingerprint patterns, the delta is this triangular area. You can have two types of loops. You can have ulnar loops or radial loops, and it all depends on which way the loop is pointing. Think of the loop as pointing a certain way. Now, the ulna is on the pinky side of the hand, and the radius is on the thumb side. So if you look at the fingerprint and see this one is going this way. So if it's on the left hand, that is pointing towards the thumb, so it is a radial loop. If we look at it on the right hand, it's pointing, if it's on the left hand, it's pointing towards the thumb, so that makes it a radial loop. If it is on the right hand, that's pointing towards the pinky, so that makes it ulnar, and vice versa for the other one. We really got to concentrate on which hand it is on and which way that loop is pointing. Whorls have at least one ridge characteristic that tend to make a complete circuit. They also have two deltas. If it has more than two deltas, you're more than likely going to have an accidental. Now, the two that you will see a lot are plain whorls and central pocket whorls. Plain whorls tend to be bigger and symmetrical, and central pocket whorls, you can see, tend to be smaller and asymmetrical. Also, if you draw a line between the deltas and that circular characteristic crosses the line, that's a plain whorl. If it doesn't, that's a central pocket whorl. Double loop whorls look like two loops that are folding in on each other, and then accidental is if you can't classify it to one area, and you can see other patterns other than plain arches, you probably have an accidental whorl, or if you can see three deltas. If we look at these fingerprint patterns, let's identify each one. So on this first one, we can see the circular pattern. So we know that that is a plain whorl. A whorl, excuse me. Let me do it. But also we need to figure out what type of whorl it is. Now, it's obvious it's either going to be a central pocket or a plain whorl. So we draw a line between the deltas, and that circular pattern crosses that line. So that is a plain whorl. On B, you can see that you have the double loop pattern. So that is a double loop whorl. C. Okay, so this is not going to be a tinted arch. It looks like it might be, but what you're actually seeing there is the delta. And so we have a loop pattern that goes in and out, and it's on the right hand. So on the right hand, that is pointing towards the thumb. So that is a radial loop. Well, okay, on the right hand, this is a tinted arch. On D, because you've got that sharp spike in the middle, and on the left hand, that is going to be a plain arch because it's a smooth transition. Okay, I will be posting many more examples of each type, and you will be doing lots of practice with them. Please let me know if you have any questions.